Hello, folks. This is Shane R. Monroe. You're in the passenger seat with me. It is Passenger Seat Radio. It is December 10th, 2024, and the fact that there's a show means I'm in the car and I'm headed downtown. And I know you're thinking, Shane, isn't Thursday your day in the office? You would be right. But, yes, I got the dreaded jury summons. And I can honestly say, in over 25 years living in Phoenix, this is the first time I've actually gone in for jury duty. Somehow I've managed to get away from it, either we weren't called or whatever. But no, not today. Today I get the pleasure of serving as the backbone of justice. That's right. So I'm headed downtown. The good news is, well, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been like for the city of Chandler or something, which would have been a ridiculous drive with unknown parking, unknown parameters. Good news today is it's in my very own Superior Court, which is right nearby where I work. So I get to park in my regular parking spot. I know exactly where I'm going. There's a lot less, unknown, if you will. All right, well, enough of what my day is going to consist of. I'm really excited to talk about this game, and god damn it, 2 games in 2024 I'm losing my shit over, and they're both properties that have no business being like in my top games of 2024. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, holy shit, he's going to talk about Indiana Jones. And you'd be right. I am going to talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So, we talked about Marvel Rivals last time. And my views of Marvel Rivals have strengthened, if nothing else. Everybody I know that plays this type of game in my peer group, we all love it. We all love it. And there's a reason, we talked about Rivals at length, but it's got, 440,000 concurrent players on Steam alone. The game is doing well. Unlike that Concord shit, right? That shit was dead on the vine before it even sprung out of the ground. So we're going to look at this as a win. Marvel Rivals doing well. Now, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. There are so many reasons to stay the fuck clear of this game. One, of course, is we know who owns the property, and that's Disney. Disney has proven they have no fucking clue what to do with Indiana Jones. So, all we can do is say, okay, well, it's Indiana Jones, which, let's be honest, with a couple of exceptions, right? Video gaming in Indiana Jones universe has been, there's been 1 or 2 games where you go, yeah, that was pretty good. But, for the most part, Indiana Jones is not the greatest gaming property because I just don't think people have known how to do him right. I'm sorry if I'm snorting. I ran out of allergy pills, so I can tell when I run out of allergy pills, I'm a complete fucking wreck. So we know Disney owns it. We know that Disney really doesn't like its franchises. It wants to gut every single one of them and turn them into some girl boss DEI thing. And so it's really easy to immediately dismiss any IP, Star Wars, whatever, that Disney owns. Because they've proven time and time again they just don't give a shit. Take a look at Star Wars Outlaws. It has now come to light that the main protagonist was specifically designed to be ugly. They uglied her up by request of the key holders of that IP because they didn't want her to have the male gaze, right? We can't have any women that look attractive, right? We have to have the diversity, blah, blah, blah. You guys know what I'm talking about. So it's like, okay. Number 2 is from Bethesda, whose track record in the past has been great. Who hasn't played hundreds of hours of Skyrim, right? Throw a dart at a phone book and you'll find somebody who's played fucking Skyrim or Fallout or one of these other properties that Bethesda originally, they were groundbreakers, right? So you think to yourself, okay, It's from Bethesda, but let's be honest. Bethesda has not been knocking him out of the park lately. Right? And add to the fact that all the reviews have been embargoed. Right? Nobody was allowed to print or display anything until the game became available to play. Now, there are numerous reasons, some of them rather benign, as to why you would review embargo your own game. Traditionally speaking, it's unfinished. Traditionally speaking, it's full of bugs. Traditionally speaking, you want as many fucking people to buy it as possible before the reviews come out or before the reviews get widespread press, because you want to make some money on the game despite the fact that it's a complete fucking mess, right? And of course, the real reason that everybody thought, so there was the main schools of thought are Bethesda is not confident that the game will do well, so they want to get as much early sales as possible, or they're hiding something, or both, right? I mean, it could be both. So there's been a lot of mystery, and mystery usually equals something devious and something that's going to piss off the gaming community. So yeah, I mean, everybody was bracing themselves, right? Effie, brace yourself. That's pretty much it, right? So it was not on my radar. I understood that there was a little bit of nonsense in there about taking guns out of the game. There's going to be some sort of a female protagonist in there. We all know there was just a lot going on, right? We had a lot of data, and not good data at all. So I took the safe route. Instead of spending $70, I spent $0 and acquired a extended trial version. All right, I pirated the shit out of it, all right? I'm not going to put $70 down for something like that. Now, early reviews, right? Like the day that the embargo was lifted, right? Unembargoed, is that even a word? The unembargo happened, right? And the reviews were positive. And you're like, hey, wait a minute, the reviews were positive. Everybody's just been waiting to dice this thing up like, chopped ham, but the reviews are positive. Now, the problem with early reviews, as you know, early reviews are oftentimes a little slanted. Why? Because they probably got an advanced key. They didn't pay for it, right? Nothing has the bigger potential to skew a review than not having to put $70 out for the title, right? And quite frankly, a lot of people play 20 or 30 minutes of a game because there's such a quantity of them. These YouTubers and shit, they want to get the videos out, right? So they play for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, a couple of hours even. And it's like, it's good, And we know by watching Disney Star Wars properties on television, right? All of these, they all do the exact same thing. They give you 2 really solid episodes, and in the 3rd episode, they drop their fucking agenda, right? That's what happens. Everybody turns gay in the 3rd episode, all the girl bosses show up in the 3rd episode. It's always the 3rd episode, right? You can almost bank on it at this point. So what does that mean for something like Indiana Jones? Well, let's wait for the 3rd episode, right? When does the game take a fucking tailspin? Now, it's still good. I'm only like 8 hours in. So, I'm not speaking of authority. I'm saying I've had 8 hours of incredible fucking game, right? So even if the game goes completely sideways, I'm pretty close to getting my money back, right? $5 an hour. I am very generous when it comes to what it takes to entertain me. $5 per hour is what I need for entertainment. So if I can get to, and by the way, I did not pay full price for the game. I got a discount at Fanatical. I think it was $11 off, so I paid $58 instead of $70. So, I've got about 11 or 12 hours of gameplay that I need to break even. Okay, so the fuck is this game anyway? I mean, there's really, I don't think people really have an opportunity to explain what the game is, because it looks like a mixture of genres, and it is. So it's not a Indiana Jones Fight Fest game. It's not tons of action, right? But then again, look at an Indiana Jones movie. Look at Raiders of the Lost Ark. How much action is really in there? There's a good mixture of it, but it's more about discovery. It's more about the lore and uncovering the secrets of the past, right? Archaeology, blah, blah, blah. That's what Indiana Jones is really about. Now, as the series evolved, it became more swashbuckling Indiana Jones, but in all honesty, it's an adventure, right? It's not an arcade game, right? So what do we genreify this with? Well, there is action sequences, which is what's usually highlighted in videos, where, you duke it out with various, I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free, folks. You duke it out with various individuals. You use weapons, you use your fists, and everybody who talks about the game says the fighting is incredibly satisfying, and I'm going to jump right on board with that and say the exact same thing. The fighting, while not, let's put it this way, you can pretty much fight all you want, but you're going to lose, right? I mean, this game doesn't require stealth, but there are times when stealth is a better option than full-on frontal assault, right? In many cases, it's a matter of, oh shit, there's like 50 enemies in this big giant cavern. I can't kill them all. I can't get all of them. Because once one knows that you're there, they all know that you're there, and then they start lining up, circling you, and you're just not, you're not going to win. No matter how good of a fisticuffer you are, no matter how much stamina you have, you will go down, like a cheap Bangkok whore. It's going to happen. You're going to go down. So what you do is, of course, is you take him out quietly, maybe, or you avoid them altogether. There are times when you're running around great locations like the Vatican, and you're in disguise, but somebody eventually sees through the disguise. You're on a kind of a clock, so you're dressed up as one of the natives, but eventually someone's like, hey, I don't recognize that guy, I better check him out, blah, blah, blah. And then you become a target, and then you can no longer freely run around the environment, because they'll blow the little fucking police whistles and everybody will come charging after you. So there is some stealth. I would call it more avoidance than stealth, though, because stealth has suddenly got a really bad name after Outlaws. It's basically stealth, but all right, so it's exploration, puzzle solving, light combat, and an immersion in a Indiana Jones story. And it's a real Indiana Jones story. It takes place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom. So they could turn this into a movie. Let's just put it this way. There's so much good writing. There's so much Indiana Jones in this storyline. They could easily make it a movie. No problem. All right, so let's talk about all the shit you're worried about. Get that out of the way, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the game and why it's so fucking amazing. So you're worried about DEI shit. Forget about it. So far, it's not there. There's no girl power shit. There's no gender swapping. There's no woke agenda. In fact, I'm kind of surprised at how much religious symbology and stuff are in it. It's one of those things where, they don't outright have Nazis, but you have a Nazi-like faction that's involved, right? So they drew the line at like Nazis, But they're Nazis, right? They're Nazis. But overall, I've gotten no hint of agenda. I've gotten no hint of wokeness or DEI or any of that shit. Now, I have met the female in the game, Gina. And so far, so good. There's no girl boss nonsense going on. She's not making Indiana Jones look like a tool. So far, so good. But listen, they could fuck it up still. It could still happen. And I will report back right here should that happen, because I want you guys to have the full story. And then, I'll be pissed. But I do, like I said, even if the game turns south within the next couple of hours, I've still got my money out of it, and what I've played is absolutely phenomenal. How do they treat Indy? Right? Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones. You're probably asking yourself, did Harrison Ford voice Indiana Jones? The answer is no. But fuck, man, you would never know it. Because the guy that they got doing it, and I wish I'd written his name down because he deserves a shout out. The guy they got voicing Indiana Jones is fucking great. He sounds exactly like him. Let's be honest. Harrison Ford probably doesn't even sound like Indiana Jones anymore. He's an old dude. You know what I'm saying? So let's be honest. If they'd gotten Harrison Ford to voice him, it might not sound like Indy. This guy sounds like fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana fucking Jones. And he's dead on. He never slips out. He never takes it too far. He never, he's never a caricature of Indiana Jones. He's Indiana Jones. It's great. I don't know who voices Brody, but he sounds dead on. I don't think it's the actual voice actor. Is he even alive? I thought he died. Anyway, doesn't matter. Brody sounds like Brody. And those are the only two characters so far that I've met that have connections to, the OG storyline. So they're not trying to erase Indiana Jones. They're not trying to remake Indiana Jones. They're not trying to pass the whip. They're not doing any of that shit. It's like an Indiana Jones movie to 1.5. They slipped it in right between Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And let's be honest, those are prime Indiana fucking Jones. Most people like the third Indiana Jones. Nobody liked the fourth one. Well, very few people like the fourth one. Nobody liked the fifth one, right? So you are talking prime time Indiana Jones, and that's what you want. That's where you want this to be set, and it is. All right. So let's talk about what I don't want to fucking spoil anything, but you've got to know what you're getting into to know how fucking cool it is. All right. So I don't think I'm going to try to talk about like what's in the trailer. So essentially, you're on an Indiana Jones adventure, right? You're at the college that you teach in Connecticut. Some big motherfucker breaks in and steals a cat mummy and leaves behind a calling card that essentially says he's from the Vatican, a secret society in the Vatican, right? In Italy. So first off, Vatican shit's fascinating anyway, right? There's so much crazy shit going on with regards to the Vatican, right? Things that all the secrets and the Vatican was its own bank and blah blah blah. It's amazing. There's so much good lore around the Vatican that it's a great drop for a story, a backdrop for a story. So you end up, of course, going, which means you end up running around the Vatican. You end up running around, all of these incredible places. Yes, you are going to go underneath the Vatican and see what kind of shit's going on under there. And it's great shit. It's amazing. It's an amazing, from just the archaeologist perspective, you're going to see lost works of art. You're going to see these hidden spaces. And it's awesome. You can just spend hours running around the catacombs. You know what I mean? It's so much fun. It's so much fun. You do have a health meter. You do have a stamina meter. But in all honesty, the only way you really die in this game is if you fall off a freaking cliff and you fall to your death, or you get the shit beat out of you, you lose. But you know, it keeps you in the game loop. It's not like die, retry, die, retry, die, retry, die, retry. There's none of that. So there's not even really a lot of heavy frustration, right? If you've played like any fucking puzzle game in the last 15 or 20 years, they've definitely got new spins on them. Now this is important, right? Puzzles in gaming, typically, you know, first-person type exploration gaming, it's always the same fucking puzzles. You gotta walk around and look at the statues or look at the ceiling, get the 5 words from the ceiling, put the 5 words in here. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's always the same types of puzzles. Well, not here. They've stretched the imagination a little bit, and there are some more interesting puzzles. And I'll give you an example of something really, really simple that's not giving anything away. It's not a main puzzle storyline or anything. But there's one inside the catacombs. There's a room that you can crawl through a crevice to get to. And once you get there, there is a wooden door that can be burned down. Okay? It's good. But you don't have a torch with you. So you crawl back through the crevice, you get a torch, a lit torch, and you crawl back through the crevice. Well, as you're crawling back through the crevice, there's water dripping down, and it puts out your torch. So now you get in there and you have no torch and no way to light it. Fuck! Right? So you go back out, you get another torch, you go back through, it puts the torch out again. You're like, God damn it. Well, it turns out that in a room around the corner from this room, there's a little slit in the wall. That's right. You can light a torch, throw it through the little hole, and it lands in the room safe and sound and still burning. Then you can go around, crawl through the little crevice, and now you're in the room with a lit torch, and you can use the torch to torch the door and find out the secrets inside. That's a very small example of a game mechanic you'll run into. And they don't tend to repeat the same mechanics, which is kind of cool. So you're like going, okay, I'm ready for this when this happens again. Oh, fucking hasn't happened again. Truth. So let's see. So there's more locations, right? Apparently there are many more locations other than the Vatican. I'm still at the Vatican because I am savoring every fucking second. Now let me tell you something else about the game that is shades of genius. All right, so you know how a lot of these games, when you're in a puzzle room or you're in a puzzle area and you stop and take a drink or grab something to eat or something, and the goddamn character's internal monologue is telling you exactly what to do. You haven't even tried the fucking puzzle yet. It's like, oh, I bet if I pull that down, that would do something. You're going, shut the fuck up. I haven't even tried this goddamn puzzle yet, you asshole. Stop giving me the answers. Right? Well, that does happen occasionally, but very, very, very infrequently. And it happens less frequently when you get a hold of a camera. Now, I've said it on many occasions, games where you take pictures of shit, I love it. Like at the beginning of, Dead Rising? When you're in that helicopter, you're taking pictures of the zombies and you're actually getting paid for how good the pictures are. I fucking love that. I can have a whole game of just running around taking fucking pictures of stuff and getting paid for it based on, some sort of an algorithm by how good the pictures are. Hells yes, sign me up. I'm an easy person to please, apparently. Well, eventually you do get a camera. I won't tell you why you get the camera because that would be spoiling things, but you do get a camera. And I will tell you that there's a lot of shit to take pictures of that aren't on the book, that aren't on the quest. Go take pictures of this and then come back here. Okay, so yeah, that's in the books. But you're running around on the treetops, so to speak, of Venice. There's fucking cats everywhere. Why? What? I can take a picture of the cat. Why would I want to do that? Well, there's a reason. So the camera serves many purposes. And here's something even more cool. The camera is the hint book. Right. Remember like InvisiClues and all of this shit from the old days where they had a little hint book? Well, the camera is your hint book. So let's say that you're at a puzzle and the puzzle has something cool there, so they're having you take a picture of it, right? Sometimes it'll say something about reveal the secret by taking another picture. So if you're stuck with a puzzle, which so far hasn't happened to me yet, maybe I'm just extra clever, right? So far I haven't had a puzzle get the best of me yet. But, yeah, so you use the camera to snap a picture of the puzzle and it will start giving you clues. So you get fed the clues instead of them feeding you the clues you're asking to be fed. Now, I have not used the system, but I'm told and by other reviews that it works really, really well and it drip feeds you and it's not one of those things that, gives everything away at once. So that's very cool. I applaud them for doing something different, including it, but not forcing it down our throats. But before I got the camera, though, there was one time when I'm trying to open up a door for somebody from the other side, right? And it's like I don't want to give away the puzzle mechanic, but basically, the guy tells you what to do before you even have a chance to do it. And I'm like, God damn it, shut the fuck up. This isn't supposed to be in this game. But that's the only time I ever saw it. Once you get the camera, especially, it becomes, the camera is the tool for getting the secrets. I'm telling you, especially if you've got a high-end PC. Now, you're probably asking yourself, hey, Shane, how does it play on deck? Well, not very good. This game was designed to really push fucking hardware. And that's something else that we should be pleased about, not upset about, right? A lot of people are like, oh, there's too hardware restrictions, too high, can't play with my potato PC, blah, 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 right? A lot of that going on. Yeah, but if you don't push the boundaries sometimes, you get the same looking games for 20 years, right? Nobody wants that. So this game is like a visual feast with all of the lighting and the ray tracing, the incredible texture detail, right? You can run up to one of these non-storyline artifacts just sitting on the wall, and it is gorgeous. The detail is incredible, and it's not even part of the game thing, it's not even part of the storyline. It's great. It's beautiful, beautiful game. And you're walking around these dark catacombs, and there's cuneiform on the walls, and the details. And they seem to have taken great care not to use repetitive texture layouts, right? A lot of times in these games, you'll go down one hallway, and it looks the exact fucking same as 2 or 3 hallways back. Because they use the exact same texture patterns in the same order, using the same everything just looks the same, and it almost looks procedurally generated at that point because everything looks the same. Why would you make everything basically look the same? Now, you could have an artistic reason for doing that, which is to confuse the player. But even in the catacombs but you always have a map, right? You're not going to get lost. So there would be no reason to make these catacombs or these hallways or whatever look generic and the same as other hallways. So they took a great attention to detail when it comes to things like that, which, again, gets high praise. Now, this is the same people that made the Wolfenstein games, the new Wolfenstein games, Machine Games. Yeah, Machine Games. So we expect a level of quality from them, and we got it. And what we didn't get is Disney bullshit. We didn't get any Disney nonsense in here. It feels like a fucking Indiana Jones movie. You're playing inside of Indiana Jones world. They haven't dicked it up. There's no fucking CGI monkeys. There's no crystal skulls. There's no girl boss, at least not yet. In fact, Indy's kind of a dick to her, which I thought was kind of cool. I expected things to be different, but again, with no plot spoilers, when he first meets her, she's got a pair of binoculars and she's looking at something. You don't know. I'm not going to tell you what, but he comes out and he's talking to her, and something happens, and he rude as fuck grabs the binoculars away from her. Give me those. Right? Snatches it out of her hand, and she's looking all indignant and shit, and he's like, fuck you, bitch, give me the fucking binoculars. Which I thought was, that's Indiana Jones. Now, in today's DEI love fest, right, you couldn't have that exchange. You couldn't have the man grabbing the binoculars. You know what would happen if it was infested? It'd be like when Apollo Creed and Drago go up, and they go to shake gloves, right? And Apollo slams down on his gloves and they don't move. You will lose, right? Some of you understand what I'm talking about. That's what would have happened if this had been girl boss infused shit. He would have grabbed the binoculars and she wouldn't have let go. And there would have been that tense moment between them, like she's establishing her. I am lion, hear me roar. Right? No, none of that. He just takes the shit right from her and snatches it away and starts using them. So that was what I was waiting for. I was waiting for some sort of a sign as to where they were going to establish that character. And so far, so good. All right, listen, I should probably start walking. I don't remember exactly how long it's going to take me to get over there, but I need to be over there by 8. Should have plenty of time. But I wanted you guys to know, this is not what you think it is. It is not woke. It is not DEI. It's not girl boss. It's not infested by Disney. It is real Indiana Jones, at least so far, right? I'm 8 hours in. It's real Indiana Jones. It's set in real Indiana Jones time. They're not erasing anything. They're not wiping anything. They're not trying to use a fucking Kelvin timeline to do whatever the fuck they want with Indiana Jones. None of that stuff. It is literally like a legit Indiana Jones story, and you're part of it. You're it. You're making the story happen. Don't worry about it looking like there's not enough to do, because there's plenty to do. Plenty of secrets to find. Plenty of puzzles to solve. Plenty of, how the fuck do I get into that room so I can get what's in there? Because I can see there's something in there. I want it. How do I get there? Now you gotta figure out how to get into that goddamn room. Yeah, it's great. It's a great game. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. If you need it, listen, don't take my word for it. Go pirate it. If you happen to have Game Pass, use Game Pass. I would wait. Let me try to think here. The opening, which you probably already know about, but the opening is a not good representation of what you're going to be doing. I'm trying to think of exactly, because you go through sort of the prologue, right? The title card will come up. After the title card, you're going to pack your shit and head to Italy. I would say, once you are set free in the Vatican City, once you are free to roam, at that point, it feels a little less guided. Play that for about a half hour. Up to that point, and then a half hour past it. If you're not loving it, get out. I think you'll be loving it by that point. But listen, if you have any questions, of course, reach out on the Discord, monroeworld.discord.com. We can talk more about it. I can give you some light spoilers or hints if you need them. I don't think anybody in my listening audience is going to need them. The puzzles are fairly simplex. I've only run across one that I can't solve, but eventually I'll get there. All right, that's it. This is Shane R. Monroe, Passenger Seat Radio, saying we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.